Today, I'd like to do a video on some important skills to learn if you are planning to relocate to Canada. So I'm going to be discussing about 5 skills that you can learn within short time, or should I use skills or profession that you can learn before in a short time if you're planning to come to Canada. So I'll try to make this video short as I can, although I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be, I don't guarantee it's going to be short, because I'm going to give some details which I've don't find this on, and I'd like to share it with you guys. So if you're planning to come to Canada, probably from Nigeria or any other part of the world, and you want to have a kind of wide opportunity to like get a job, this video might just be for you. So stay with us, try to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So and if you think there is any anything that needs to be added to the video, do comment below, so I'll see it, and adjustment or arrangement will be made for that. Thank you for joining, and let's start. This might look common, but one of the first shock I had when I came to Canada was I discovered that most of the job that I was looking for keep requesting for like a driving experience, driver's license, and all that. So the first thing I'm going to discuss here is driving. Yeah, driving. So as common as driving may seems to be now in this our present time, not everyone knows how to drive, and some might not know the importance. I mean, we're planning to come to Canada, maybe from Nigeria or from any part of the world that you're watching from, and you may look at it that, oh, driving is is something common. I mean, you can learn it anytime, anywhere, but it's good if you, I think it's better, yeah, if you know how to drive from your country and you're coming with your country's license to Canada, and maybe you plan on, looking for a job as soon as you come. So it's good if you are coming with your license. So the first thing I'm going to discuss here is, you know, driving. So driving skills. Then the second on my list is forklifts. Forklift operator or forklift operation, which is also known as material. They're also known as material handlers. Forklift is a machine that it's like a mobile heavy duty machine that carries heavy goods from one part of maybe the store or the warehouse to another. Then I'm going to discuss also about truck driving. I'm going to discuss also about caregiving and transit operator. Yeah, so without wasting time, let me start with the driving. So driving normally will take you to learn, let's say like not everyone might know how to drive, and you want to learn. Why? Maybe you are still waiting for your visa, maybe your visa is granted but you still have time to come here. So, and you know that, oh, you don't know how to drive, and maybe you're having the belief that, oh, when I come here I'll learn. You can still learn how to drive home, that's in your home country, let's say like Nigeria, and if you can come with your license, that would be better and make your step even faster to getting the license here in Canada. So driving, to learning how to drive takes about 1 to 2 weeks, or maybe more in some cases, but 1 to 2 weeks is like the moderate time to learn how to drive. And for a driver in Canada, the earnings ranges from about $15 per hour to about $20 and more per hour, and they can make up to 35,000 to 45,000 and more with tips and other benefits. With experience, in a year they can make up to 35,000 dollars upward in a year. And one good thing about having the skills, the driving, learning how to drive, and you knowing how to drive, one of the advantages that you can work in almost every organization. So imagine someone applying for a cleaning job, a dishwashing job, and they are asking him for driving experience, driving license, and some may even request that you have a reliable vehicle. Now, why are they saying that? They are saying that because you might not really want to rely on the public bus because you don't set the time for the public bus. So if you are being employed somewhere and your employer needs you, like in a matter of urgency came in, they need you to go and maybe stand for someone, maybe they have there's shortage and they need you to go and help out with the work or come to work immediately. You have to depend on the bus if you don't have a reliable car of your own. So that's why learning how to drive, having your full driver's license, and even having a car is a big advantage here in Canada, most especially during the cold period, like the fall and the winter. So although even if you don't want to learn it in Nigeria, you can still learn it here, but that will take you time. That is if you don't want to learn it in your country. But why you planning to come into Canada and you don't have these skills, which is why I'm actually doing this video, is that I'm trying to advise, I'm trying to encourage you to learn this driving, get the license from your home country, so by the time you enter into Canada, it's going to be easier for you to get the driver's license in your province. Otherwise, you have to wait for about 9 months or more, and you have to do some series of tests, road tests, and it will take you time before you get your full license if you are coming from your home country without any driver's license. So that is that for driving. Let me quickly move to forklifts. So for forklift operator, they are also called material handlers. If you go to a warehouse, those big warehouse, production warehouse where they do maybe retail or wholesale, you see this mobile kind of machine that you have one person sit inside, and it carries transports the goods, those heavy goods that you can't have people carrying it. You transport them from one part of the store to the other. So that's what they call the forklift operator. So these are heavy goods, and the machine is specially made for this heavy duty to carry those goods and transfer it or take it within the store or within the place it was the warehouse. So being a forklift operator means that you can work anywhere where maybe they deal with goods, they deal with warehouse, they deal with shipping. So a forklift operator, if the forklift machine is used for distributing, transporting material, goods, and heavy equipment in industries, warehouse, and factories. And learning forklift to learn forklift course here in Canada should cost about maybe $200 or more. And the good thing about these skills is that you can learn it within 1 to 2 days, or within a space of like let's say 6 hours. You can learn it in a day. You can learn it between a day and two, depending on maybe which segment you want to touch in it or how deep you want to go in forklift course. So that's the good part about this course, about the forklift operator. And the earnings for the forklift operators, like per hour, they earn close to $17 and above per hour. And in a year, an entry level forklift operator can make up to 35 to $49,000 and above in a single year. And this progresses as he advances in the job with experience, and even maybe he can even be promoted to a supervisor, so which means he can earn up to uh, more than 49-50,000 in a year as a forklift operator. And these skills can be learned. Earlier I said 6 hours earlier. These skills can be learned within a period of 8 hours to maximum, let's say, 2 days or a full day. And you get like a certificate for it, and it has its own kind of license too. And I think the certificate or the license, I think is the certificate, has a 3 years validity, which means if you have the forklift certificate and training, after 3 years it means you have to kind of do a renewal of it. I think it's either the training or the license, you have to do a renewal of it. So that is for forklift forklift operation. And you can even the good thing about this forklift is that you can learn these skills in your country. For example, in Nigeria, I think there's a place. I'm going to kind of leave a link in the description for some of these things. I have some of the link in Nigeria which someone has shared to me, some time ago. So in case you're interested in knowing more about this, and you want to learn it in Nigeria, equally you can also search it online and see where you can learn forklift course in Nigeria, where they teach you the theoretical part and the practical part of it. And you can have your certificate. So the places where a forklift operator can work include warehouse, like I said before, construction site, transportation, sector, material management like aerospace, defense, chemical, retail, and wholesale. And it requires certification and license. The training, like I said earlier, involve lectures, theories, and hand-on machine, which is practical. So they teach you the learning side, that you have to read and maybe read about it, and they also teach you the practical part of it. So that is that for forklifts. They are also called material handlers, machine operator, forklift driver. So it's a good skills that you can try to do findings about. And the good thing about it is that in one day you can acquire these skills, and it can even serve you, put food on your table even for a lifetime. So it's a good skills to look out for if you are thinking of what you want to learn. You can't say because maybe you are coming to school, or because you have a certificate. At times you need some of these skills. So if your certificate is not working for you, this skills is going to work for you. So it's good if you have like alternative. Yeah, if you have like alternative. So I'll just move to the third one. So the third item on my list here is truck driving. Yeah, a lot of you must have heard about truck driving. Now, truck driving is it might be a hard job, probably a hard job, but it has a good pay. Yeah, it has a good pay. So truck driving, I talked about driving, driving like a normal car, maybe a taxi. So truck driving in this case now, you having experience in driving will makes you easily fit into truck driving, because there will be little training, instead of someone who has not been using a car and is not familiar with the road. So truck driving, the learning period for truck driving takes about 3 months or more, and is usually learned in maybe a training school or a community college here in Canada. Although these trainings are also given in Nigeria, so you guys can look out for that. And if you are not from Nigeria, look out for it in your country. Try to like see how you can learn about truck driving if you are interested in it. And the earnings per hour for a truck driver could be about 24 $24 per hour. And the truck driver can make up to $46,000 to close to 100 and above in a year. And as such driver advances, he also gets some maybe increment in pay, and tips and other benefit that may comes from it. So truck driving too is another good job to if you are a type that you're excited with driving, long distance driving, you might want to look out for truck driving. And in Canada here, only registered school can teach you truck driving, and it's expensive. But the good thing about it is that it's going to worth it if you take your time to learn truck driving. Like I said, even if you have a degree, a certificate, and is and maybe that is not working for you, the skills you've learned can equally help you. So truck driving here in Canada is taken by the teaching is mostly delivered by a registered driving school, and the course is between 5,000 Canadian dollars for domestic student, that is for like maybe citizen, a PRO. Then for international students, it costs close to like 8 to 15,000, depending on the location and depending on the institution that is teaching you, or the driving school that is teaching you. So I said that truck driving takes about maybe from between 1 to 3 months, or 3 months or more, depending. Like I said, if you know how to drive before, and you have a higher level of license, so the time of getting this training might differ from someone who is totally new with the road, and who is totally new when it comes to driving. So let's say maximum of 3 months, you can get yourself on a good truck driving training within the space of 3 months. So I'll move to uh, caregiving. A lot of people must have heard of the caregiver's job, caregiving job where people take care of like the old people, or people with disability, or a child. Those are caregiving. They take care of children, they take care of adults, they take care of people with disability, and sick people who cannot do things for themselves. And the learning period for caregiving can be up to 6 months to 1 year. Maybe in a college, it's between 6 months to 1 year for a professional caregiving job with a professional diploma. Then the earnings for this caregiving job in some provinces can be up to $18 per hour. It can be up to $18 per hour. And a caregiver, or a living caregiver, or let's say caregiver generally now can make up to 37,000, 45,000, or even more, most times more, in a year. So caregiving job is a good job, and there's high demand for caregiving job in Canada, and not just in Canada, in US, in the UK. So you might want to look out for caregiving job, and it involve some characteristic. Caregiving job, you are taking care of people, you are taking care of children, adults, sick people, or people with disability. So a caregiver should have the quality of personal care. You must be ready to take care of people, understand their personal need. You know um for example, you can assist your client who you are giving the care, like you assist in exercise, like walking with them. You can help them with some light housekeeping duty, keep them company when they are sick, and maybe they need to take their drug. You remind them, or you help them out. That's like the caregiving job. And the learning period, like I said, is about 6 months to 1 year. So depending on where you are taking your caregiving lessons from. So if you are taking your caregiving training in Canada, a professional caregiving, like maybe you want to have a diploma, is between 6 months to 1 year, and it requires some certification too. Yeah. A caregiver is also known as disability support worker, early caregiver, companion, and all that. So although there are some short courses you can also take and some certificates you can easily acquire before going into caregiving, which I I'm going to talk about. Yes. So for caregiving, learning caregiving in an institution for a domestic student, can be up to about maybe 5,000. Then for international students, learning caregiving can be up to 8 to 10,000, per session, So um I'm also going to talk about the required certificates. So for caregiving, there are some certificates that are required. These certificates are, they include the first aid, the CPR, and you know, it also involves, yeah, I've written some of this certification down. Yeah, it also involves, basic life support certificate for emergency that may requires, chest compression. You don't really need to have the big professional certificate, but it is recommended. And I think most of the time it's about it is like two type. Yes, it is like two type because I'm actually not into caregiving. So there is the healthcare and the healthcare aid and the kind of caregiving. So there's like a difference. One is more into the health aspects, that one might require more of this certification, and some is just the caregiving. The caregiving now, you can be attached to a client who might just need companion, or a client that is old and might just need you to help them do one or things, help them take care of people with this disability and all that. So in general, most times what people say they requires for caregiving job, or what I see, what I know by observation, is mostly the first aid certificate. I think adult abuse, child abuse, and police reports. Most times, if you want to go into caregiving job, if you want to go into caregiving job, and most times they are also asked to provide like a driver's license. So you see the license is coming back again, because they might need you to help your clients, move them, maybe take them to the hospital for their checkup, and all that, and maybe even help them get drugs if there is need, help them with movement. So most times they ask that you should have like a driver's license. And some I have some friends that has gone out to look for caregiving job, and most times why they are being turned down is because of driver's license. So the driving skills is still coming back again. Like I said with your driving skills and your driver's license, you can work like almost in every sector. So driving is very important. So even if you are a scholar, you're coming here for a research, for study, at least make sure you have one of these skills. If nothing at all, make sure you know how to drive, and try as much as you can to like come with your country's license. So I'm just going to move to the next one to save our time. So so I'm going to talk about transit operator now. Who are those transit operators? People I refer to as transit operators are those who operate the big city bus. Like here in Canada, in my city, we have the Winnipeg Transit. Now these transit buses, those are the big buses. So if you are in Lagos, Nigeria, you know of the BRT. So these are kind of the BRT. I think they are bigger than the BRT. So these things can be learnt in Nigeria too. So they are called transit operator, or at times they call them bus operator. They are skilled professionals who drive the big city buses. So they took people from one part of the city to another part. So it's also a good job to look out for if you are thinking of maybe what to learn or what to do when you come into Canada. So they earn from about $19.40 to about $24 per hour. And in a year, a transit operator can make up to um, $54,000 and above, depending on his level, his location, and maybe his experience in the job. So the learning period for the transit buses, the big buses, for you to, learn this transit, at times you having a driver's license like, class 5 for a normal car helps you in this process. So what you need in this one is about 6 weeks training or more to learn how to handle to drive the big buses. So this 6 weeks training in transit operation is going to require you maybe like going to class. There's going to give you some theoretical part of it which you need to like read and understand. Then there is also the practical part of it which you need to like see what the car look like, try to like drive the car in the learning process. So the learning process takes take 6 weeks and above, and most times you'll be asked to present like your normal driver's license, about 1 to 2 years experience. So you know it's a good job. One good thing about the job also is that being a transit operator, it's like a cool job, because most times I enter the big buses and I see them, they sit there. And most of the city buses that I discovered are like owned by the government. So there are people that are also very respected, so it's another good job to look out for. So the good thing about these things that I've discussed about is that before coming to Canada, you can look out for these things in your country. It might even be cheaper, more affordable to learn it in your country. Like I talk about truck driving. Let me see if let me check the amount. So I think I said about I in my findings I found out that truck driving is about maybe 6,000 to learn, and to take you close um to about 3 months. So learning truck driving is expensive here, but it's not bad if you can afford to learn here. So, for those that may be concerned about what skills should they learn, what like you need a backup. It's not like okay, you can say, oh, because you're a doctor in Nigeria or because you're a doctor somewhere else, if you immediately you get to Canada, you get a job as a doctor in the hospital like that. So these are skills you might want to look out for. And the good thing about them is that you are not required to bring like, oh, you must have a first degree, you must have master's degree, or you must have PhD. These are something that you can learn, and they are good skills actually that can help you. It's open up your chances of the kind of job, or how early you are prepared to even get a job, and how soon you might get a job if you really know how to do this. So in Lagos, for example, there are places where you can actually learn these things, which the cost might not be up to what you pay here in Canada. One thing I discovered is that the value of these skills here, maybe that's what makes it so expensive to learn down here. But notwithstanding, if you can afford it and if you have the time, you might want to feel like, oh, I want to get here to learn these things. But it is keeps you on the safer side if you are learning these things in Nigeria. So I do mention driving. I said driving is very essential. Like there's no place you work that you won't be asked if you have a driver's license and if you know how to drive. Judging by my experience, most of the jobs that I have been applying to at the earlier stage when I arrived Canada here, they keep asking me for driver's license, full driver's license, not even learner, the full driver's license. and even a reliable car in some of the companies. So that really hinders my chances of getting a job at times, because I have the other requirements but I don't have the driver's license. So this is very important, to those that are planning to come. Look out for these things, do more findings on them, and see which of them that you really want to look into, or you want to equip yourself with the training and knowledge. The good thing about this these skills that I've just discussed about, or this job, is that they are all under the national occupation classification. What does that mean? That means that if you get to Canada and this is you are doing one of these jobs, and you are lucky to get a full time, and you are doing one of these jobs, for example, let me use Manitoba for example. After working for 6 months full time in any of these jobs, you can actually apply for PRO. So PRO is permanent residency. And some of these professional jobs, or all these professional jobs that I've talked about, they are there and they have their own code, which means doing all these jobs are, they are good jobs, they are well paid and respected jobs here. So you might want to look out for this if you are planning to come to Canada. So I said driving, forklift operation, truck driving, caregiving, transit operator. Those are the big buses, like what we have in Lagos, like the BRT buses. So these are things you might want to look out for. And although I didn't do much on this, you might also want to venture into tech, because tech is evolving every day, and there's a whole lot of opportunity in tech. So you might want to look out for short courses, or some courses you might take, even if it's online, like data analysis, UI UX, product design, and all that. So tech is also important, or very important also. You might want to look out for this. So you might not be the manual person, or the person that may like to do these skills that I've mentioned before. You can be in love with, or a person that loves so much in tech, or soft skills. So soft skill, you might want to look at all these soft skills, like I've said, like the tech. So you might want to consider some things in the tech, like data analysis, and what have you. There are a whole lot of them. So please, you can do findings of this if you are not interested in any of these ones that I've mentioned earlier. So try to look at tech too. And you can also learn things like, if you're a guy, you might want to learn how to give a good and nice haircut. Is also is selling something here, because I don't think we have a lot of barbers in this place. So I think there might even be some level of demand for someone that knows how to cut the hair and style the hair very well. So the same thing goes to the ladies too. You might want to learn hair styling. These are skills too that you can use it to put food on your table here in Canada, and also pay your bill. So these are things to look out for. So thank you for watching. I hope the video is not too long. Please share, please subscribe, let others see. You might be in Canada already, you might not need this. You might have some of these skills, and you might think it's not for you. Yes, but please share to other people that may need it, because most times people they ask us, oh, I'm coming to Canada, what should I do, how should I prepare? So this is just part of my own contribution to questions like that. I think you should acquire skills, and these skills will help you when you come here in Canada, and you can really show evidence that, oh, you know how to do these things, and you have the certification, and you have the experience. So all these are things to look out for. So I've come to the end of this video, so thank you for watching. I remain Daniel. I'm a student. I'm not an immigration consultant. I am not registered. I don't do immigration. I'm just giving an advice. So please do verify some of these things that I'm saying, because This is a finding that I've done, so you might know better, or you might know someone that knows better, or you might even have, an extra to add to it. So please feel free to like, comment, let me hear your view. What do you think about, what I've just, talked about? Thank you.